I'm live.
We're live.
I'm
Hello,
on it.
I am Sean,
And I am Jonathan.
and this is
Only
OnlyFrets.
You're live in 3, 2, 1.
Pretty good success with that intro last time.
It worked out well. I think it worked out well this time as well, sir.
We will find out.
I'm going to turn your volume up just a little.
Yeah,
Jonathan, what do you have on your lap today, sir?
Got something rather interesting. This is a Charvel. What is this? A Pro Mod something or other. I don't remember the full model name, but it's a Charvel.
Freaking tasty.
Made in Mexico with a Floyd, and yeah, it's really cool. Beautiful color. Got it at a sale the Guitar Center was having. I guess they were blowing them out or something. I don't know what it was, but I was like, "Ooh, it's brand new and it's like $500." So let's
That's
take
awesome.
it. Little out of tune, but
yeah, well, we don't worry about such things here on OnlyFrets.
That is true. What do you got?
This is my the Greta Lee here, the made in Japan. This is cool. I don't know if everybody saw this on my. Can you see it? The Hamburglar. See the eyes and the lips.
Yep, I saw.
But it's that Japanese photo flame, man. And the one thing about these that's annoying is if you chip it, the picture comes off with the paint. The one thing that's not annoying is how it sounds and plays. It's a wonderful instrument.
Right. Yeah. Looks great, plays great. It's all you need.
Just real quick, want to say hellos to anybody chilling in the chat. I've got Mark Spurgeon here. He's getting modded today, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. Good, solid friend of Sean Plays Guitar, and it's his birthday today, or it was yesterday, and he has a brand new Jazzmaster that he's gonna send me pictures of on Instagram.
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
This is happy birthday. I am just not prepared today. I'm trying to. We'll lower this a little bit.
You're okay.
Oh, that'll work.
I'm a little crooked myself. There we go.
That actually does. That works out okay. All right. We are fashionably late today, as you can tell, but we're planning on doing something to maybe hold your attention for just a little bit. We got a couple topics that we're going to talk about. One that I thought Sean brought up was really nice is kind of how we got started playing guitar, and maybe throw out a little advice for anyone looking to maybe get involved with this, hurt your wallet or pocketbook a little bit,
or fingers,
or hands, or feet, as I've seen some people play. And I'm like, look, I can't. That's always such an inspiring thing when you see people that can play like with their feet, and they're playing like freaking Pink Floyd better than or as good as David Gilmour doing it. It's like nothing's impossible. Don't ever sit and say that you have limitations. There are no limitations in this world. What am I talking about? I'm just rambling on today.
You're talking about not having a pity party for yourself because you don't have hands, Jonathan. And I think that that's a good message.
It is. I'm thrown off because I'm normally on time, but we're not on time today. Anyway, but that's why I got Spark Notes over here. So advice for beginners or how we got started. So Sean, since you kind of brought up the topic, how did your guitar journey start?
So, well, I kind of covered some of this in my video with my dad, my little Tone Deep episode with him on my amps and stuff. But, you know, there were always guitars around. But how I actually started in earnest was my best friend, or one of my best friends, Steve, was playing guitar. He had a Squire Strat, not unlike that one back there, and a little amp, PV Rage or whatever the PV of the day was. And so he had a couple of things, and he was starting to get pretty darn good. We were about 17 years old, and I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And, I think I spent a little time trying to learn other people's songs. Like the first song I ever learned was, hold on. Blink 182. Damn it.
People see
that,
started with Blink 182. So funny.
yeah, I mean, it was, speaking of which, here's nerd alert. I have Dude Ranch on cassette. It's
Nice.
it's lime green. It matches your guitar.
Kids, a cassette was a little piece of plastic that we used to listen to music on. You put it in a cassette player, and if the tape inside got all wound out, it was you took a pencil and you. There's no kids watching this.
It's like a
There's probably
really
no-
annoying limited space iPod.
Right. And when you got about halfway through it, you might have to take it out and flip it over and put it back in to get to the B side.
Anyway, so I started learning other people's songs and stuff like that, but long story short, I couldn't do that. I wasn't good enough. I didn't have the attention span. I'm kind of ADD and all that stuff. So what I did instead, which actually I did have attention for, was I started to just write my own music. And it wasn't good. I don't know if it ever was good, although I did have guys in bands I was in that believed in my songwriting, so I think it was okay. But I just was putting chords together. I didn't know about the circle of fifths. I didn't know any theory. I couldn't run any scales. I was a huge annoyance to any lead guitar player that I played with because of this. And so I literally didn't learn anything, like everything I actually know about playing guitar, I learned from the age of like 33 or 34 on, when I found out about guitar YouTube. So as good as I am now, imagine before I started YouTubing, I was playing four chords and the truth always. So it's all singer-songwriter stuff, you know, regular rock and roll riffs, but I didn't learn anybody's music. Robert Baker did a Instagram challenge in like 2020, 2021. We were all stuck inside. And he did an Instagram challenge where learn a Led Zeppelin riff. And that actually, I was like, oh, I can actually play this. And so I would say I started playing guitar when I was like 17, but I didn't learn anything until I was like 35, which is backwards from the way most people do it. So I would actually really love to hear your story and see if my theory is true, because you're clearly a better player than I am. I think it's better to do it probably the way you did it. So maybe we can hear your story.
So mine maybe isn't as glamorous as whatever. I mean, it really is. So my background in music, I mean, my dad's a guitar. Well, he's a guitar player and primarily a bass player, but he plays guitar too. But he's bass player at the end of the day. My brother is a bass player. My uncle, he actually has a recording studio as like a home recording studio, but he's very, very successful with it. I mean, he's managed to, grow it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he went to school for music. He's a killer guitar player. He's toured with, a lot of bands. He's met, a lot of big, musicians and stuff. So he's like in it, right? Deep in
Yeah.
it. And if you've ever heard of the band Royal Thunder, he's had a big part. He's played with them. That's I think that's something that might be right up your alley. It's really cool. We're like friends with the my sister really is friends with the bass player of that band and the singer and stuff, but I digress. Hi Mel, if you're watching.
I'm
But
checking it out right now. Is your brother the one with the stubble and the nice slick
so my
back
brother's
hair?
not in that band. I don't. What's his band called? Um, I think he's with the band Kawanashi. I think that's how you say that. I'm not personally a fan of what they got going on, but he's the bass player in that band. If I don't know if he's still with him or not, but
With a C?
regardless, no K.
Oh, with a K.
Kawanashi is. I think that's how you say it, something like that. Obviously, I mean they're talented guys, but if you listen to it, it's one of those things where it's like, it's an acquired taste kind of thing. But either way, I digress. So my brother's younger than me, so obviously he's a little more successful with the touring and stuff. But teach his own. So when I was probably say 5 or 6, maybe I got my first guitar like ever. It was an acoustic guitar, and I kind of still wish I had it, just as like a testament of like this is where I started and this is where I'm at now. But kind of piddled with it a little bit through like elementary school. Never really stuck with it too seriously. And as time went on, obviously I started getting more into it. Right around middle school, I joined band and I played the trumpet. And I was in band for about 4 years. Still got a trumpet, can still toot on a little bit, but um, so it was in middle school that I met my best friend at the time, and we started various little acoustic singer songwriter kind of things, and
Projects.
that was really where it took off. Probably in about 7th grade, I would say, is when we really started doing that. When we recorded, I remember going to Guitar Center and picking up a Presonus audio box. That was our first like realm into recording. And he got, I think for his birthday, he got some MXL 990, 991 microphone. So we were like, oh, this is so cool. We got a mic for you to sing in, and I can mic up my guitar. And I had an acoustic, I had a really nice acoustic, electric acoustic with an Ibanez something or other. It was, I regret that I sold it, but either way. And from then on, it's been pretty much just an obsession. So I've been, I wanted to learn how to play guitar like my favorite players and stuff, which I really don't idolize anybody, but I listen to, bands and stuff, and I'm like, I want to play like that kind of thing. If I'm talking too much, let me know.
No,
But
not at all. I'm interested.
so, so we did that. I've still got a bunch of the recordings and stuff, and we will not ever listen to, well, I don't know. I think it might
Come
be funny to
on,
listen to.
bro.
It might be funny to make a video doing like Sammy G did, where he did like his blunder years and his professional years and stuff. I think that'd be kind of funny
Yeah.
because those were definitely some blunder years. But regardless, so yeah, we did that. That was where I got my first taste of playing in front of people. Um, we played at our talent shows, at school. I think we played one or two of those. An original song that a lot of people really liked. Very simple, but it was a nice little sing along thing. Um, I've played it. We've always made a joke like, it doesn't matter how long it goes, with us not playing that song, we could probably meet 20 years later and be like,
Yeah.
hey, here's a guitar and we can do it. And we probably still could. But he's since moved into I think he lives in Kansas now, and he's like joined the Air Force. So I mean, he's got his own life, and I'm happy
Yeah.
for him and stuff. But anyway, so what
Well,
else do we
that's
got
it.
here?
You bring up several things that sort of trigger memories or, that I can relate to. And I think probably a lot of guitarists. Mark here is saying he is the only guitarist in his whole family, which I find to be rare. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not normal that you're the only musician in the family. So he's a special breed, it seems like. But he's hoping that his grandsons will want to play because apparently they like to mess around with grandpa's guitars when they come over. But
Well, and it's interesting you say grandkids because they always say it skips a generation, but
yeah,
seemingly I mean, like you have my dad and my uncle, and then me and my brother,
yep,
and even my sister's dabbling in it. And she's like 20. I think she just turned 25 recently. So yeah, 25. We're in 2025. She was born in 2000, so 2020, yeah, 25. Math. But yeah, she's even dabbling in it a little bit. And then both of my kids are actually in band in school. So My son plays the clarinet, and my daughter plays the euphonium. That's her, but like baritone. It's like a small tuba if you don't know what a euphonium is. But um, so I mean, it to me, it doesn't really skip a generation. It's just it just if it's ingrained in you, then it's going to be passed down, and it's depends on what you grow up around too. I mean, very musically inclined people are going to kind of foster that love between other people. It's it's like people that go to a concert and then they see somebody and they're like, I want to do that. Like you
Yeah.
grab
Flip
that
of a
energy.
light switch, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I
All it
think
takes.
that's what happened to me. Really, like I told you, I kind of missed that whole middle school playing fast, learning, high adrenaline music. And I wish that I hadn't missed that because
Yeah.
I I cannot like play very, very fast. Which is kind of annoying. And I'm really bad on like, off timings and stuff. Like that Instagram video you did that I stitched like a long time ago. You're playing
Yeah.
a really sick riff, and I was trying to like solo over it, and it was just so rough, dude. And like, um, but the bigger thing was, I remember this, and this kind of you're talking about that just kind of triggered this memory. My first live concert, besides Ninja Turtles coming out of their shells when I was in like second grade, was Jimmy Vaughn and John Hyatt at the Portland Zoo in Oregon.
Wow.
And dad was like, come on, let's go up to the front. They have a concert series they do every summer there, and they're still doing it, and it's awesome. But he took us up to the front. We watched Jimmy Vaughn play, and he's awesome. He's a great player. And that was my first like legit concert with my, ever forming adult style brain. I was like 15 or 16. And then that next summer, I went to Incubus and 30 Seconds to Mars at the Spokane Raceway in Washington with my buddies. And that was my first no parents concert. And those two shows really like, uh, it was the light switch that you're talking about. It was like, oh, I want to do that. Like, my buddies and I started recording on my friend's computer down his base. We call it basement jams, recording, Howie Day song covers or Incubus song covers, like, and they're terrible. And those files are thankfully lost to the ether. But um, it definitely, that was when things really set in. But also, you mentioned that you had joined band, and I
Mm.
was always in choir. So I didn't do band in high school, but I did choir. And when I got to learning the instrument, then my inclination was to learn it so that I could back myself up while I was singing, which is something that my dad always did. The difference being was I wanted to eventually at some point I wanted to be good at guitar always, like actually good at guitar, be able to play riffs and licks and leads. So I always kind of had one foot in the lead and then one foot in the singer songwriter thing. It's just really interesting how people, you know, it's a journey, man. We all go about it our own way. But I can imagine little Jonathan sitting down and, trying to hammer out like some complex like metal riff that, you really wanted to learn or whatever.
Yeah, because what I did was with going back to kind of doing all that. Like I was primarily an acoustic player. Like that's just kind of what I had. So I was one of those stereotypes where it's like, oh, you start on the acoustic.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I had a really nice, like it was a really nice acoustic. It wasn't anything like super high end, but it was really really cool. I really hate that I got rid of it, but maybe I can touch on that at some point. But anyway, so um, I got my first real electric guitar. I had a Laguna, which I don't know if you know what the Lagunas are. They were like one of Guitar Center's in-house brands way back. They were actually
I
pretty
remember
okay.
those. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
you can
them.
still find them every so often. If you get one of the higher end ones, they're pretty nice. But
Better than the new Mitchells. Better than Mitchell,
certainly, yeah. I mean, some
I
of the
would say.
Mitchells again, if you find a good one, they're pretty cool. But yeah, for the most part, they're just not great. But the Lagunas were cool. That was my first, I would say, real inclination into guitar with an electric. And then my first real or proper guitar was an Ibanez RG2EX1. And I've talked about that before. And I actually bought another one at one point, but I don't know. I was like, it's not the same. I mean, it is the same,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's not mine. I am
Right.
desperately trying to find mine. I'm hoping that one day I'll see all the mods that I did to it out in the wild, and I'm like, that's it. And it's one of those like insta buy things. But so far, no luck. Anyway, that's probably why I browse Guitar Center multiple times a day. Like, did it refresh? But
Is it
anyway,
here?
right. Funny story about that too. I know we keep kind of going off topic here, but I don't have my JJNs anymore. Right, I don't have those Les Pauls anymore because I traded
Oh
those
yeah.
for something or other. My Old Glory, and I know for a fact it is mine, is still on there.
Oh nice.
Yeah, it's been marked down, and I know it because it's in a different state now. I think it's in like Maine or something.
Mm-hmm.
But they've reused the pictures, so they're the exact same pictures. I'm like, that's mine, and I'm hoping to get it back one day. But can I digress? Where was I? Oh yeah. So going back to hammering out those riffs, I remember my mom. She took me and my brother to Guitar Center, and we were going out to one near Atlanta. It's probably about 30 minutes out of Atlanta, if that. Anyone local will know what I'm talking about on Cobb Parkway. But anyway, so we went out there, and she was calling the store like, "Hey, we're on our way. Like, don't close," because it was like a last second decision to go out there.
Yeah.
And we got out there like 30 minutes before they closed. And in my mind, I wasn't thinking like, "Oh, she's gonna go buy us something," but she went in there and she bought uh, my Ibanez, and then she bought my brother, if I remember correctly, a Squire. It was a Squire bass, and it was the one that had the skull on it.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he got one of those, had that for a long time. So that was kind of where it really, really kicked off and started, because we ended up getting an amp too, and of course, no prizes for guessing. It was a line six Spider, Spider 3.
Spider 3 had to be. I had a Spider 3 half stack in my band Redbeard's Revenge, and that thing roared so
See, I had
loud.
the little tiny combo, so it wasn't. And I remember, I always think whenever I'm dialing in a tone, I'm always like, just dial everything to 10, because that's what I used to do. It literally was like treble, bass, middle, 10, insane. I mean, like, I was the walking stereotype of here's the cheap Ibanez and the line 6 with just everything gunned, no
Put it
regard
on
for
the
tone.
insane setting.
The insane set, good old insane setting, man.
Yeah.
And I, God, this is bringing back so many memories. It's funny sitting there like, why is my guitar out of tune like up here while I'm learning those, metal riffs and stuff? And I'm like, why is it out of tune? Because I didn't know anything about intonation.
Yep.
And then there was something that happened. I think it was after I got my second real guitar, which is my Jackson King V, the one that I still have.
Mm-hmm.
Got that, and that's when I started to learn how to do setups and stuff. And when I first fixed the intonation on that Ibanez, I was like, it's in tune. Like, I don't have to keep going up here and retuning it. Like, what is this? And the action is like, I remember getting the action down low, and I was like, wow, this is so much easier.
Right.
So like, I struggled unnecessarily, and those experiences have humbled me so much. And I know it's one of those things where it's hard, but if you make it those hard times fun, it pays off in spades at the end, because now it's like, this is a huge part of my life. It's if I lost all of my music stuff in a fire tomorrow, I mean, it would devastate me.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be like, I got my kids, my family, all that's good, but I'm like, it would devastate me once all the shock wore off. I would be like, wow, I got to start all over. And it's like, but
Yeah.
not to get my whole life story. I've been talking forever.
No, it's totally fine. The reason I kind of thought about it is, hang on, I'll grab it. My boy's birthday party coming up, and he has, well, I've showed the little the VWE, and but then and then my dad got him a kid size like this, like telly, not a Squire one, but a different brand. And it's
Right.
just a boat anchor. It like weighs more than this telly. Like it's it's so heavy. He can't put it on a strap and walk around with it. And then he so like the VWE wouldn't stay in tune, and he can't play the telly, and
Mhm.
but this showed up, and I'm like, I want him to have something cool around to get started, but I don't since I did it wrong, I have like a notion, or what I think is the wrong way, um as far as learning guitar, cuz I learned how to write songs first and then went back and learned how to write guitar. And I wish that I'd
Right.
have gone or play guitar, and I wish that I had gone the other way, cuz I feel like I'd be way farther along now. But you can get better in your 30s and 40s. Somebody made a video
Absolutely.
not too long ago about whether or not, it's John Nathan Cordy, who I love his channel. He was like, and he ended up saying like, yeah, you can. He says it's harder, and I do think it's harder, but now that I'm older and I can actually pay attention, I could sit down with a Robert Baker guitar lesson and spend time on that. And I get little things here, there, and I just keep grabbing little things and putting them in my pocket and trying to get better. And I think
Right.
if you went back and watched like my first YouTube video to now, everybody would say, well, obviously you've gotten better in the last 5 years. Like it really has. Um, yeah, right, Mark. It's harder, but I want him to have a good foundation to like get cracking on this and be excited about it. So my dad actually sent him a crate, or sorry, a Black Star, what are they, the little club, HT club,
Ooh,
it's the lit, not the club. It's not a club, because the club is
cute.
the tube. It's
The-
the one with the effects in it and stuff. It's like a little 8-inch speaker or something. Maybe you would know. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, it's the ID core.
Could be an ID core. It probably is an ID core. Yeah. It's just something fun for him to mess with. That's a little better than the Jared James Nichols Black Star Fly
The black.
3. And so I'm hoping that it really, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. All my kids kind of think guitar is cool, which is cool. And they actually got to talk to Nick Perry when I did my interview with him, which was like, we listened to his music all the time. And so
Yeah.
he said it was cool if the kids said hello. So they got to like meet him for a second on the computer, which was a lot of fun for them. So I'm just hoping all these little things, I just keep trying to drop these little things, and then maybe I can guide them and be like, here's, the internet. I pulled it up. I said, best way to begin learning guitar. And here's what Google says: guitar anatomy. Familiarize yourself with the different parts of the guitar. So you have to learn all the names for everything. And then it says tuning. Very important.
Yeah.
I, like you, played out of tune a lot when I was starting out. And then it says basic chords. I got to that part, and then it's like strumming and then fretting technique, which you start getting into scales and stuff. And that is probably the correct way to do it. I just was like, I learned a C chord. I can write a whole song with one chord, and just started doing whatever I wanted because of my ADD brain. But hopefully my kids will go in a different way.
It's like that episode of American Dad where he like learned he took those pills to stay. American Dad's like one of my favorite shows ever, so I can
Great
quote
show.
it. But it's like where he took those pills to stay awake all night, so he didn't have to spend the time. He's like, I learned how to play the guitar, but I can only play 2 chords. He's just playing a G and a D back and forth, and it's like, it's funny, yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, and it's funny that you say that about like learning songs instead of learning how to, because I'm in that exact same boat, believe it or not. When I first, started getting serious, whatever, I was learning songs. I was like, oh, I got, I got the sound, I got the guitar, I can actually play these like heavier songs that, I grew up listening, because I grew up listening to like, you know, 80s hair metal and 90s grunge, like all the grunge and
Yeah.
stuff, all of that stuff. So, and then, obviously I got into metalcore, which kind of stuck with me the most because that's like one of my favorite genres of music. Um, so I was learning like kill switch riffs and stuff, but I was learning the songs. And in fact, one of the songs that I learned mostly all the way through, aside from the solo, was Welcome Home by Coheed
Oh,
and Cambria. I know you were talking about that. So that was actually one of the first songs that I ever learned how to play. That wasn't like a chord based thing, um but yeah, and then it wasn't until I got into learning scales. God, that was back in like 2016, maybe. I started learning, like, that's when I actually started. This is a little embarrassing to admit, like the pentatonic scale. I couldn't do lead stuff or improvise just basic things for nothing.
right.
I would look at someone like Kirk Hammett or something and be like, how is he doing? Like, how does he know? And that was something I always asked like my uncle and stuff, like, how do you know where to go and like what the notes are?
Yeah.
And then it's just one of those things, once you actually sit down and start learning it, but yeah, I
Like,
mean, since
I
then,
know
that's
kung
when I
fu.
started. Right. But it's like, you're working your way up to that. So you learn, I kind of did it backwards too. I was learning songs and I was like, what, I'm tired of just playing the same songs. And I started writing my own songs. I'm like, I want a solo to it,
Yeah.
but I want to learn how to tap and I want to learn how to be able to say, oh, we're in the key of A. So you go da 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 or whatever, it's so learned a pentatonic scale, went to modes, had a really good formula for modes too. Like it's something I use all the time, 3 note per scale kind of stuff. But I need to make a video on that too. But I digress. Yeah, and that's kind of where I've come to where I'm at now. It's only in the last not even 10 years that I actually started to learn how to do scales and tapping and doing all the technique.
Yeah.
But I think that this is the point I was going to make too before I actually said all that. It's like, look at what they do in like the army or the Marines or something, where they, you see them in like movies taking apart their guns and they're cleaning their guns and they're doing all that. It's like they're learning every little piece of it before they actually use it, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Same thing with a guitar. It's like this guitar is mine. What is it? There are many like it, but this one is mine, or whatever.
Yep.
It's that kind of thing. Because then it's like, well, what if you want to get into, what if you have a hardtail something, how to do the hard, what if you want to get into something with a Floyd Rose?
Right.
It wasn't until recently, again, when I started taking it more seriously in the past couple of years, that, I got into Floyd Rose stuff. And I think I've noted on the channel before that I don't like Floyd Roses. Now I've got one, two, three of them. I've looked at many other ones
Floyd
that
rose
have.
colored pink room of doom, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Well, it's just interesting because you must have been in like your mid 20s probably when or mid to late 20s when you went through that sort of like renaissance, if you will. um
yeah, it's about give or
you,
take.
but I just feel like, well, shoot, that was like 10 years ago now, so you were like 20 or 21, right? um
Yeah.
I When I was 20, 21, and I was like writing me, I lived with guitar players. Okay. I lived with my friend Steve, who I mentioned earlier. I lived with my buddy Adam. These were like very good guitar players, and they tried to teach me stuff. I remember one time I was like in my late 20s, we were having beers at a bar somewhere, and I was like, why didn't you guys ever, or no, it was when I first actually started. So when I was like 35, I was like, why didn't you guys ever like teach me anything? And my buddy Steve looked at me dead ass and was like, bro, we tried to teach you stuff. You just couldn't pay attention. Like you literally would just like, oh, like this. And then I would teach you something and then you would play something entirely different. And I was like, what are you watching? Like, what are you looking at? I think I was just a really bad student for a really long time. And it just like really, I couldn't sit down and be bothered to learn. I'm hoping that my children don't have that like inclination. Like, you know, my oldest does seem to be a little bit of a fart in a skillet, if you will, but he also really is like wants to do it, I think. So it's it's just kind of one of those things where it's like it's not like I feel like it's too late for me. I just feel like I can really give them a leg up that I never had. My dad played, but we didn't live together. So I only
Mm.
saw him 1 week in a month forever. And so he didn't get to have that daily influence. There weren't guitars around the house all the time, you know. Um, but I'm hoping to like break that cycle. It's like raise like three awesome musicians, and hopefully they can go out in the world and do a little better than I did with it. But that
Right.
was kind of the impetus of me bringing that up, because I'm just really interested in this because I have kids and I'm trying to like find the right way. You know, you don't want to like be like, sit down, it's time to practice. Like, you know, be a
That was
drill
exactly what I
sergeant. Music has to come to you, I think. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's even like, and that's exactly what I was gonna say was, you know, your vessel, if you will, is the guitar, right? Um, my daughter obviously was wanted to play guitar and stuff. She was real whatever, but I mean, she grew up around the music and stuff, and like I had an old electric drum kit. She'd go there and beat on that, so like that was kind of the start of that with her. But as time went on, you know, she got her own guitar. She got an Epiphone SG. She got really big into ACDC at one point.
Nice.
God Almighty, we had to hear TNT. I don't know how many times. It was, you know, funny. So, you know, when she said that she wanted to get a guitar, you know, I was saying, well, you know, you like ACDC, so you know, here's that, and showed her an SG, and she's like, oh yeah, well, that's the one I want. So she got an SG special, and I did a video on that too. It's actually one of the more popular videos on my channel, funnily enough. But she did that for a little while, and then she kind of grew out of the guitar, but that's where she transitioned into like she joined a band. She found her love, and I think with this with my family, it skips to like treble bass kind of thing because now she's all about, you know, the bass stuff. But
Right.
you know, so but yeah, it's a great way to introduce your kids to the idea of music and then give them something to start with, like, you know, how you're doing, say, you know, here are these guitars, but there are other options. You know, if you say, oh, you know, yeah, I learned the basic stuff on the guitar, but I really like the flute. Awesome. Let's
Right.
get you a flute. You
Yeah.
know, like, and it's one of those things, if you can support it, absolutely support it, because music is, I don't want to sound cheesy or whatever, but it's really inspiring, empowering, all that other kind of stuff for kids to be able to say, like, I can do this,
Yeah.
you know. So it's a great outlet a lot of times. Like there's times where, you know, if I'm, you know, feeling down or whatever, you can come down here and just kind of play some sad chords and get it all out and be like, okay, I'm good. Or I'm angry.
That's the other
Down here.
thing. I was never able to like write a happy song. Like it was really hard for me to do when I was younger. And then when I got into my first band in Spokane, we actually wrote several like kind of more upbeat rock and roll tunes that
Mm.
I was like, oh man, it can be done. You know, I don't just have to wallow in misery on guitar all the time. And actually switching from acoustic based to electric and playing rock and roll music drug me out of that. But even now, when I sit down to write a song, like it's in a minor key. Like even a happy song can be in a minor key for me. I have to like find a way to start sad and turn it into something hopeful. Like I'm so bad at
Right.
writing happy songs, dude.
Well, see, like it's, I mean, that even goes with like tunings, you know, like all of my guitars are in drop tunings, just about. Uh,
Yeah.
Drop D. I got a bunch of drop C stuff, obviously, because I like, you know, metalcore and stuff. And all of that's, I'm not like the heavier the better per se, but it's like, you know, I like heavier stuff.
Yeah.
But something like this is in standard tuning, mainly because I don't want to mess around with the Floyd, and it's just in standard tuning. But working on the video for this, because I've yet to do a video on this, so sneak peek to everybody.
Nice.
It's, and I've actually had this for a while. I wrote a demo for it the other day, and it's in standard, and it's heavy as hell. I love it. And it was one of those things where it's like, you think of standard tuning as like, oh, happy, whatever. But yeah, I wrote it and I was like, yeah, this is what I needed to do, was
Right.
just play around with it.
Yeah.
But then you got things like I learned trying to get to another distorted thing. I don't know how it sounds over there, but like let's see if I can remember how it goes. Painkiller, Judas
Yeah.
Priest. Like I was like, that's something that's in standard tuning that sounds just so thick and muddy and dirty, and I love it. So yeah, the tuning thing can help with writing in different feels, if you will.
Yeah.
But
That's something I've heard a lot, is you should try going to different. I don't ever keep a guitar not in standard for whatever reason, but if I'm going to play some Hendrix or whatever, drop it down a half step, do
Yep.
that. I've done my fair share of how did it go? I can't remember my own song now. Anyway, yeah, I have like a bunch of stuff that I wrote with my rock band, and then with my, what would you call it, a dirty garage metal band. So I had two. There was Return to Nothing, and that was like a rock and roll band. So
yeah.
all basically we had one song in drop D, and then everything else was just in standard tuning. And then the next band or project that I did was called Redbeard's Revenge, and we did everything was in drop D basically. And it was just like I put the I was like, I want to play fast, I want to play heavy, and
Yeah.
and it was not great music, but it was a lot of fun to play. And and so I just am very vanilla when it comes to my tunings, and I probably could benefit from playing around in that space a little bit more.
Sorry in advance if you can hear my dogs barking. I guess someone breathed wrong outside, so they're like, someone's here. No one's
Well,
here.
yeah,
But
they
anyway.
shouldn't have done that, though. I mean, in the defense of the dogs,
Yeah, they shouldn't have been,
anywhere near
20.
it.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been anywhere near here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was like, oh yeah. So I was gonna say, so back in my acoustic days, when I discovered the capo, that was end game.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we were messing around with that capo so much. It was so funny.
Put it on just
Like,
top 3 strings way up here, and
oh yeah, no, I mean we would capo all of them, but I mean I would be like, oh let's put it at 5, like that'd be kind of cool, and then we'd be playing, like I've got, oh god, I just made me think. So there's another song that I say we wrote. It was really him and another person wrote it, another one of our mutual friends or whatever. They wrote it, and then it kind of turned into me and him performing it as we kind of went through our journey with that. But that song was kind of like a hit because I've performed that by myself, and it's just like a really repetitive, like G C add 9, that like Wonderwall chord kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
It I mean it kills like at open mics and stuff. If I've ever done it by myself, everybody's like, that's a really cool song. And it's so repetitive, but it's like a sing-along kind of thing. So like the problem was, we were kids, and we weren't like super musically inclined or whatever, but we wrote some really catchy thing. The performances were okay is what it was. But like the formula was there, and I've still got like the lyrics and all that kind of stuff, and I still remember how to play most of them. And I've always toyed with the idea of re-recording it kind of as I can envision it now, with the full kit and caboodle, like
I've been
drums
down that road a bunch, brother. That's
and it's
something that comes up when you get better. you start thinking about like, man, I could play, you know, Spiteful so much better than I used to, and I could do the solo better. Like, and then you're like, but I'm not in that band anymore. Where are my guys? You know?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is too is it's like me, I like to sing. Whether I'm good or not is debatable, but
Same.
I've toyed with the idea of like I can hold a tune. I've toyed with the idea of adding vocals to like some of my demos just to test the waters a little bit and see
Yeah.
if people. But it's recording vocals to me is one of those things where it's like, ugh, I can't. It's not like, oh, I can't listen to myself talk. I'm past that part of it.
Right.
But it's getting it right. To me, it always sounds like someone's got a blanket over it like that, and it just sounds like crap. But I don't know. That's what's holding me back from doing that idea is that I would want to perform them, obviously, because my friend can't. I'm sure he could, but he probably has no interest in it. I've not reached out to him about it, to be fair. But anyway, um, that's probably the one thing holding me back from doing that because like I enjoy the process of writing songs. You know, people always talk about riff salad, and that's something that in my mind I'm like, I know I can write good stuff.
Yeah.
Best whatever. I'm a half decent lyricist at that. But I've always wanted to write a song
Mm-hmm.
and something that I'm proud of because obviously people write their own stuff. Like I've got a backlog of a million different songs and stuff that I have written that it's just like this will never see the light of day because they're terrible. But I don't know, it would be fun to do that again, I think.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think that people actually do want. I was doing my live stream real quick. I wanted to say shout out to Glam Metal Hippie. He runs a live stream also on Friday nights, and it's awesome. The community over there is so much fun, and so that's a really great hang and chat. And then Amanda Coombs is in the chat today, so I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up. But back to the point, which is like, because I didn't learn guitar first, I was always writing. And writing is actually, I feel like, a strong suit of mine. That was the one thing my band members in Return to Nothing were like, man, like you're a good, he compared me to like, I can't remember. He always said I was kind of like, who's like a guy who can't really sing that good but writes awesome songs, like maybe Tom Petty or something like that. Not at that level, but my drummer always said that I could write a really good song, and it was just the singing part that was always kind of tough because I couldn't hit the notes that I needed to serve the songs, and I wasn't good at guitar, so I didn't know how to transpose anything down to where it would sound good.
Grab a capo.
Right. Yeah. And you know, I had a capo, but like, you know, it only does so much. Like really you need to be in a different key a lot of times. And now I'm better at that. So you know, now I can do a little bit of that better. But I go through that too where I'm like, man, that song is a good song. I should go back and re-record it, but there's also a part of me that is kind of like let a sleeping dog lie. Like you might end up
Yeah,
picking it apart too much or ruining
yeah,
it, you know. Uh,
yeah. That's such a rock and a hard place too, because it's or not like again in my example, the recordings are terrible. The pieces are there. Like it's if it was recorded professionally or like just better in general, it would be a listenable song, I think.
mhm.
Not being biased, but I do think personally that it is, they're pretty decent. But it's like, do you really want to strip away kind of like it almost feels like you're erasing the memory of it, but it's like you still have it, but are you actually going to go back and listen to those old crappy recordings if you re-record it
Right.
professionally or semi-professionally and it's just like better, and then you bring up the argument of, well, do you listen to your own music? Hell yeah, I listen to my own music. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, I rock my own stuff all the time, brother. I mean, the bigger message is that, you know, it's it's a journey, your time with guitar and songwriting, and we all have our own. Like, you really should be proud of what you did at the time. Like, I I made an 8-song EP with a bunch of my buddies. Um, and we went up to a friend's house in Colville, Washington, or is that in Idaho? I think it's Washington. Colville, Washington. He had a basement studio. It was pretty nice, actually. We recorded 8 songs in 2 days. We were like, didn't have a lot of money to spend on it, and those songs got played on a couple of local spotlights in Spokane. Like, we
Sick.
did the whole circuit. I played like every bar in Spokane at least once. And were was I that good? Like, I listen to the recordings singing now. It's like I can sing now better than I used to, because I used to smoke like a pack and a half of cigarettes a day when I was in my 20s. But now my voice is actually better. It's like, yeah, I could redo it. But also, I'm super proud of what we did with what we had, and so that part's also fun. Shout out to Glam Metal Beauty and Stealth Guitar for dropping in. Thanks, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think the journey is something you should be proud of. Your
Yeah.
songs that you recorded already, you should be proud of them, and they should be a building block for what's to come. I think it would be awesome for the Electric Flamingo channel for you to incorporate some singing and songwriting into your videos. I mean, personally, as a fan and a subscriber.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's an idea I've floated. Um, Probably wouldn't be for a while, just because, like I said, I've got a huge backlog of stuff to get through. But with things that I still have pending, I mean, who knows? Maybe one day you'll tune into it and hear my fantastic voice if you're not already too tired of it. But them's the jokes, people. But yeah, no, it's you know, I did have another. I know we're kind of running short on time, but I guess maybe give me like your 60-second hot take on this. Do you think that music is still a viable career? Maybe this is like a lead in to the next episode.
Ooh, that's a
Viable career.
good question. So I did that Tone Deep with Nick Perry,
Yeah.
and things I've learned from somebody who's out there doing it are, you need to be basically really flexible. You need to be good
Mhm.
at all kinds of things. So you have to be a good producer. You have to be a great guitar player. You have to know keys. You have to be able to sing. You have to
Yeah.
be able to write. You kind of need to do all of it to find filler stuff in between your own personal projects. Like,
Yeah.
he played guitar on. So do you know the Struts? Have you heard of them?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
so they're a rock band. They're called the Struts, and they're I believe they're based in England, and he's friends with the singer. His name's Luke Spiller, and Nick played guitar on every track for Luke's solo album. So that's an example of something where he came in and used his talent at playing guitar and his good musical ear to, like, do that. He's produced a bunch of stuff. So I think yes, but I think that it's not what we grew up knowing, where you're like, you're gonna get a record deal, you're gonna go
Yeah.
go on the road, you're gonna make a bunch of money on tour, you're gonna sell physical media, because nobody sells. I mean, you can buy physical media, but people aren't buying CDs, vinyl, or freaking cassette tapes, which is like where artists used to make a lot of their money. They're just getting like fractions of pennies for streams. So
Yeah.
yes, it is. It's just very, very different now, and you kind of have to be a Renaissance person in order
Mm.
to. And in some ways, it's actually easier, because let's say you're doing all those things, and then you're also a videographer, and you're filming yourself doing it, and you're putting it on YouTube, and you have 15,000 subs. Now you're making
Yeah.
money on that. So it is viable. It's just that you have to be so much more, you can't just be Randy Rhoads and be an excellent guitarist anymore, and that's
Right.
enough, you know? Like that's not enough now. You have to know so much stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Again, I have a bit of a different perspective of it because I have family members that have been varying levels of successful with it. Depending on where you stand in that chain of music, whether it's production or playing or performing or whatever, or videography or whatever. Um, I think it is again, and I to me, it's something I would never pursue as a full time career. And I hate to say that out loud because that's something that I think I've always kind of been like, I would love to be a rock star. I'd love to be like touring the world and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a place where if you're a jack of all trades, like that's one of those places where being a jack of all trades is probably the best option because like you said, if you can sing, you can write, you can perform, you can record yourself, you can produce, it's like, yeah, you can be an absolutely killer player, but if you can't do anything else,
It's going
it's
to
like
be
people,
tough. It's going to
what,
be,
what about
yeah.
Tim Henson? Why can't he just does da 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 da? It's like, well, he writes in a different way, but he's kind of crafted his own online presence. So he's doing the online thing and garnering that attention along with being with his band and stuff. So
Right.
it's like, it's a fine balance because again, it is a much different playing field than it was back in like the 80s, 90s, even into the early 2000s and stuff. It's a much different arena to be in.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like,
and that's something we can talk about more in depth on maybe the next episode of.
yeah. I mean, I just think like there are bands that have stratified into the YouTube and Instagram world because you kind of have to now. So I think that's where it's at. But yeah, brother.
Yeah,
Maybe we can expand upon that next time. That would be a good topic to continue with. But
absolutely.
quick thanks to the people watching here: Glam Metal Hippie, Amanda Coombs, Mark Spurgeon, Stealth Guitar. Thank you guys for showing up, showing love. I know there was a 60 cycle hum live stream at the same time, or a premiere or whatever, but it's nice to
Taking
see
us.
you all in here for sure.
This is only fret time. We can't be doing
Yeah,
JHS, 60 cycle hum,
right.
and all them.
It's
Shame on
only
them.
frets. That's what it is.
Only keyword.
Well, brother, real quick, you sent me something today, and I'm going to try and make a video with it this weekend. The Dude Alert pedal. So we're gonna see what kind of juicy tone I can squeeze out of that bad boy. I'm looking forward to it.
Just left in it, my man. It makes. I mean, I've seriously considered buying one. Like I thought
Yeah.
about telling my dude Carl, no shred zone, y'all check him out. Like, look, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna
I'm
send
not
anybody.
sending it back.
You know where it's at if you want to come get it. Like
That's
it
right.
really is. There's my wife calling me. Perfect timing.
Nice.
I'll call her back in a second. I got to
Ooh.
move. But anyway, so I know, right? Y'all might not see me on the next podcast.
That's tough. That's tough, bro.
But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us mainly on Sean's stream. It looks like I got 13 views on mine, 0
Nice.
comments, nothing out of the ordinary for me on my channel.
Well, at least we didn't get any negatives. That's good.
Yeah. We could have been kicked off for some reason. I was trying to avoid playing too many, like when I was actually playing anything to be copywritten because I'm dealing with that right now.
Me too, brother. I got like 2 or 3 videos that got hit with it. I'm not making money anyway, but it was annoying because I have permission on the Nick Perry Tone Deep episode to use his stuff, and they still copyrighted me anyway.
Copyright's another gripe session.
We should talk about that. You probably have a lot to say on that, and I'm a novice, so it'd be cool to know. And actually, Glam Metal Hippie uses actual songs, plays actual songs on his live stream. I kind of wonder difference between live streaming or published videos, or who knows.
who knows? I just didn't want to be talking and then be like, look over and be like, oh, my stream's gone, like,
Right.
kind of thing. But it is what it is. But anyway, it's getting to be about that time, folks. Again, thank you for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sure Sean appreciates it too.
I sure do.
Make sure you tune in next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll get that one day where it'll
You nailed it.
at the top. Yeah, thanks. I
Yeah.
practice and every day. But yeah, thank you guys. We tried to play guitar a little bit more, and we did. We'll get there where the entire hour is just us playing crappy licks.
Just noodling.
Just
Yeah.
noodling, yeah. Oh, that was an A, man. You need to. Yeah, no. Anyway, all right. Well, we will see you guys next Wednesday on.
Have a great rest of your week. Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop it over here.